Hey guys, it's Shannon the Garden Girl from Georgina Garden Center, and I'm going to plant up my last of 4 window boxes with you guys. I'm going to show you what I've put in. It's fairly shady here. There's a bit of sun here and there throughout the day, but about 95% of everything in here is for the shade. I have picked Terenia. This is Moon Golden, yellow and purple trailing flowers. I've picked Lantana. Now this one is more for the sun, but I've done it before and it seems to work okay here. So, and this variety is Lucky Sunrise Rose. It has really pretty pink, orange, yellow, almost like sunrise colors in it. And then I have Impatience, nice hot pink. This one is, just says Impatience, doesn't say the variety, but it's a hot pink. Then I have a trailing coleus. This is Great Falls Yosemite. Sorry if I'm saying that wrong, but it's a limey green, white. There's touches of pink in it, and it trails. Then I have a tuberous begonia. This one's Nonstop Fire, and it gets yellow, and it will have orange in the blooms. Sometimes more yellow, sometimes more orange. Sometimes it almost looks even pink. Those in there. I have Streptocarpella, which have fuzzy leaves, almost like an African violet with little trumpet tube-shaped purple flowers. Really nice and dainty looking, but they're not dainty. They're very hardy, and love the shade. Then I have a Triscanthia Zebra Rainbow, Wandering Jew, some people know it as. This one is green, variegated green, white, pink, purple, has purple stems. It's really pretty. I haven't tried this one before. I've had it lots of times at the garden center, but never tried it myself growing. But I like the little pop of color in there. I have an asparagus fern for some height in the center. And then that side just repeats the exact same as this side, and it's all mirrored because I like everything very balanced. So I've pre-filled my window box with potting soil, and that's potting soil, not garden soil. Garden soil is for the ground. Potting soils are for the pot. Potting soil are pink bag. That's what I pre-filled. And I didn't go quite to the top. It's almost at the top, being top about an inch from the top, just because I am going to add more. So we'll take all these out. And I always do open the roots a little bit just so the plant knows it can start growing. Okay, so I'm just going to start on one side and work my way over. Okay, and then I always keep like a little, either the bag of soil or a little pot so I can put the extra soil in, just so I don't dump it here. I have river rock underneath me, so I don't really want to mix the soil in with the river rock. If it was just in a regular garden or on the grass, I'd just drop the soil. So, taking out the tags here. And see, I'm taking the bottom, the roots off. You don't have to rip them right off. You could just kind of use your fingers and loosen them up. But there we go. Coleus, or the Impatience. And sometimes there is a nicer side to put in. This side's more flat than this side here, so I'm going to put the flat against the wall. This begonia hardly has any roots, still a tiny guy, so a lot of soil came off him. And again, I'm just making a hole in the soil big enough for this little root ball that's here. Okay, so that's as deep as I'm planting it. I'm not adding any extra soil on top of that plant. That where the root ball is, that's where the level of soil in my planter is as well. Don't add on top of the plant. It doesn't like to be buried. And that's for any plant, any size plant, tree, shrub, perennial, annual, tropical, if you're doing in the house. Nothing likes to be buried. Now there are exceptions, tomatoes. They don't mind to be buried a little bit, but don't bury stuff. Not a good practice to get into. And I hope this is fairly centered 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yep, so I'm pretty much on center again. If it wasn't, and I stood back and looked at it, I'd have to readjust it all because it definitely has to be centered for me. Okay, so I have that half done. Now, take these tags out. And I have, if you see, I have it's a wire basket window box and it's lined with cocoa liner, which is the brown. And it actually lasts quite a few years. Now this one, I don't have a plastic liner in it. I should have. If you put a plastic liner, so between the cocoa liner and the soil, if you put plastic garbage bag, something, an old shower curtain, make sure you poke holes though, because you want water to drain. But that will keep this cocoa liner even longer, and it helps also to keep moisture in. So when you water, all the soil or the water just doesn't come rushing out. You actually get some in here. But I didn't put plastic, partly, I don't want to say I forgot, but I didn't want to go back inside to find some. And these don't get a lot of sun, so they don't dry out that fast. I only maybe water these maybe a couple times a week. If I had to water these, if they were in sun, I would definitely put a plastic liner with holes. It just helps to keep that moisture in longer. It's better for the plants, keeps your liner longer. But this is my 3rd year for the same liner. So not something you have to replace every year. But in the sun, if you didn't have that plastic liner, you might have to replace it every year. So, okay. Almost done here, just a few more. Again, take the bottom off the root ball. Make a little hole. Trenia. And then we have the last little lantana here on the end. Okay. And I did water all these plants first. It's always a good idea to water your plants first before, so you're not planting them dry. It's just easier to, it's better for the plant, they're less stressed, but it's easier to open up the root ball, plant them, everything. It's easier when the soil's wet. I even put a little bit of water in the potting soil as well, just so it wasn't going in bone dry. It helps later when you're watering for the soil to retain the moisture too. It just doesn't run out. So they're all planted now. I'll kind of just zhuzh it a bit. I'll feel around to see if there's any extra little holes. I'll put some soil. Otherwise, I'll give it a little bit of, I'll put some fertilizer and some water and give it a little bit of another water. And every time I water, I will use a 20-20-20, something with a balanced number. You can even do a 15-30-15, but something with higher numbers. You can do organic if you want, which tend to have lower numbers. You just won't get as many blooms. So if I'm not, for me personally, if I'm not eating the plant, I tend to use the 20-20-20 or 10-15, or sorry, 10-30-15, 15-30-15, any of those combinations of numbers. You'll get a lot of blooms, really big planter by the end of the summer. Have a great day, guys.